Hey guys, it's Austin back tonight with another YouTube video. I say you guys are probably going to take one look at this display and say, like, what is this Frankenstein bit of a display that you've got going on here? And I was just going to get it out of the way. This year, I've already confirmed with even the followers on TikTok, this year I'm not doing a full-blown Halloween display. And there is a pretty big reason for that, along with other varying reasons, which I'm going to address mostly in the beginning, but I might leave a few things out, so I might have to double check myself whenever I look back at this recording and then also kind of fill you guys in. But I'm going to start out with the main reason why this is not a full Halloween lineup this year. Obviously, you guys probably saw on my channel community a few weeks ago that I went to BJ's Club Store down in Florida on my vacation and bought the teeter-totter from BJ's, which is the two monster kids seesawing up and down with the sound box and the kaleidoscope. Well, I had every intention of making that part of my Halloween lineup this year, but when I got back home from vacation, it's like I got hit with a brick wall of a bunch of holdbacks. In essence, basically, we have State Farm as our insurance policy provider, and due to storm damage over the summer, as well as multiple wildfires throughout the world, they are now focusing their insurance coverage on tree management, and unfortunately, I have a massive tree in the middle of my yard. And as you could tell from just that explanation alone, they have asked us to perform tree work to be within compliance of our insurance policy. And I gotta say, for starters, we already have a tree guy lined up to come. Not sure when he's gonna show up. Honestly, it's been a big aggravation just in my personal perspective, but due to that and not knowing how many inflatables I'd have to pick up, and just the fact that I work for a manufacturing company and my hours are very long, I just wouldn't have the time to do a whole Halloween display just for the complications with the tree work alone. But then it also kind of goes back to like where I also work in manufacturing, which may have, I guess, very vaguely mentioned in some of my previous videos, but I don't have a ton of time on my hands like I used to back when I was working part-time. Now it's a full-time gig, and it's just been kind of limiting a lot of what I've been able to do this year so far. But the good news is, as a Tennessee fan, as you could tell, I have been able to greatly expand upon my UT display, adding in some major additions and some more subtle additions that you guys may already be noticing. But ultimately, this is not exactly how I wanted to do the main October display, because I wanted to make it one of my biggest Halloween displays that I had ever done. But obviously, just for the main big reason that did not happen, it ain't a possibility. And honestly, I'm going to be real just in the beginning of the video. This year has not turned out exactly how I planned it. As you all heard back in 4th of July, I had planned to do an Easter display that I had to throw out the window just due to like where I had a career change, as well as just the lack of time to do it and not really the funds being in place to do it. That just got thrown out the window, and the whole Halloween deal, it's just completely came out of left field, and I've just been very disappointed in how it turned out. But anyways, getting that all out of the way, this is Austin's VOL-O-WEEN display, so get ready. And here is my most recent new addition to this year's Tennessee football display. I had gone back and forth on whether or not I wanted to buy this model. It's a Sam's Club exclusive, but I have seen one person online reselling it secondhand. But even then, as a secondhand price, I thought it was kind of ridiculous because they already said it had smudges and blemishes on it, apparently from where it had been used one time. So I wasn't about to go order a one-time used inflatable with smudges and blemishes on it from being used. So I just ponied up the extra surcharge and bought this right off of Sam's Club. The other reason I kind of really went back and forth on this one was because I kind of thought it would make my Power T inflatable I bought last season at the Vol shop a little bit redundant. But the more I thought about it, you know, since this display this year is already not exactly what I was hoping for, and the fact that I kind of wanted to have more bulk since it is my main fall display, I guess you should call it. Although I'm hoping that this year I might be able to do a bit more for Thanksgiving than what I did last year, go figure. But anyways, really nice design. I will say I was very surprised at how good the lighting is on this design because, as I referenced in last year's video, Logo Brands is the main supplier of college football inflatables and just overall collegiate sport inflatables. And usually their lighting can be kind of hit or miss on what they put into all their inflatables because brand new right off the bat, they are usually about this quality as well as the quality that the T has been able to keep up over the last few months and such. But in general, these lights will tend to fade out pretty quickly, which means that I'll probably end up having to use a floodlight with like an LED bulb in it to keep this guy lit up at some point. But so far, I will say I do like the quality, and my God, is it a big inflatable too. I was not expecting one this tall as what it was. Granted, it is a 7-foot by 10-foot inflatable, and the width of it alone is just absolutely impeccable for like what you have to pay for this inflatable, being that I've had to pay about the same or more for other Tennessee designs that I've bought in the past. So I will say this one was a really good bang for my buck, and I am glad to own this piece in my Tennessee display. Let's see here. Another very recent and new add to my Tennessee football display. Okay, this one's going to be a bit of a backstory one too, because back whenever I first started this collecting of Tennessee items, like to really the bulk that it is now, and just all the designs and features that I've added onto this display, I was able to get this Tennessee football T projector back years ago. But don't be fooled by my explanation, because this is not that original projector, because back in 2022, whenever I got my football helmet and my original Smokey, which is still in my display, I had one of these things, and I kid you not, within the first week of me owning it, it had an electrical issue, the cord started sparking, and then it caught on freaking fire. And I had to throw the daggum thing in the ditch to keep from catching my hands on fire. So I decided to give this thing another shot, because I was able to find somebody on Mercari who was reselling this product. And I don't know if I've ever even addressed it like in any of my other videos up to this rate, since it's just been so infrequent, but my 4-shape projector sadly bit the dust after this past Christmas, so I don't have any more football shaped projectors like what I used to. So or I should better explain that the 8-shape projectors will not project a 4-shape slot, so I'm having to now kind of go for backup and give this design another chance. But I will say I do love the fact that I have some staggered UT Power Tees on my wall, and it's something that I haven't even had in the past 3 years. So kind of thought it was a nice touch to add that to my side wall over here this year, give the other corner of the house something football-esque, whereas it hasn't had it in the past few years. congratulations to the ETSU Buccaneers on their big win yesterday over the VMI Keydets. I do want to shout them out because I know my Vols absolutely pummeled them in Neyland Stadium earlier this year, but I do want to kind of give the old Bucks some kudos because they've had a very, very adversity-filled football season. I mean, the way they choked away that game to Furman last week, if somebody is a Buccaneer alum or anybody who follows like Southern Conference or Division II football in the NCAA, that was a freaking heartbreaker game. And it was full of a lot of emotions, and I could have about thrown my phone out the window whenever we fumbled that ball against Furman, because the only thing we had to have done was kick the field goal to send it to overtime. New little Snoopy blow molds. I think it came from Lowe's, I'm pretty sure. One of the few Halloween elements of this year's display with my mom's wreath that's been adorned around it. This is a Tennessee colored wreath. I don't think it's made many appearances in any of my videos, but I'm finally glad to get this bad boy in a video. Let's see here. My Power T neon light, I got it actually at the Vol shop during the UAB game a few weeks back. I think it's a FOCO brand neon light. I don't know why. This year I've kind of had a bit of a craze of collecting neon lights, and I've already been actively trying to find like some lights themed to NASCAR and some other stuff for my own bedroom. But when I saw this in the Vol shop a few weeks ago, I knew I definitely wanted to have it for my window, since I was kind of planning this whole display as kind of a backup for if Halloween didn't happen about 2 weeks ago. And like I was telling you guys, it kind of just crap hit the fan and wasn't able to do full Halloween. So I decided, you know, if I'm going to get it, I better get it now and just start planning for a UT display to kind of retcon any of the disappointment from Halloween not occurring. So glad to own this piece. I definitely am liking what it's doing to my windows, and it's bringing this Tennessee display a lot more to life than what it was last year. A little bit close, but the only Halloween inflatable I have out this year is the brand new for 2025 Monsters Teeter Totter design from BJ's Club Store with the sound box and the fire and ice. I thought about just leaving this one out of the display entirely, but being I promised you guys a review, and I'm hopefully still going to try to do a review on this inflatable. I'm trying to stay by my word and do reviews when I say I'm going to do them, even though it might not come out as how I would have wanted it to. But back to what I was saying, I had debated leaving this design out of this year's display, but I figured, you know, it's got to have some kind of flair and some kind of Halloween to it. I mean, even if I'm not able to go full-blown like I have the last few years, I definitely wanted to include this guy. My thoughts on it so far is I really love it. I like the animation style. I'm even debating picking up like a design or two like this for Christmas. My eyes right now are really on the Charlie Brown themed one because, as you guys know, I'm a big Peanuts fan, as you can already tell by like my blow mode Snoopy on the porch and my Tennessee Snoopy on his doghouse. So I'm definitely hoping that I can get another one of those teeter-totter designs, because it seems like that's kind of what's in style this year is the teeter-totters, like unlicensed and licensed ones. But overall, I will say I do love this Halloween one, and I think it's not really that much of a competition or even that debatable to say this could be the best Halloween inflatable of 2025. Because this year, I gotta say, the other reason that I really haven't felt too inspired to put any Halloween up, aside from just the physical facts that I can't do it, has just been that this year's Halloween inflatable selection that I think has been probably one of the most poor, lackluster, and most uninspired years so far. I don't know who is picking out these store designs, but I got to tell you, At Home this year is a freaking snooze fest for Halloween, and BJ's barely has any life to it at all. The Jack Skellington, in my opinion, was just flat pointless, and then this design being the only one that made any sense in their lineup. And then don't even get me started on Lowe's. They've gone completely to the woods. I don't know where they're at, but they're overpricing inflatables that have poor fans on them and all these other ones. I mean, that 12-foot tall Minion was absolutely ridiculous. Like, who would pay that much money for a 12-foot inflatable? $300 freaking dollars, like what I'd be paying for a colossal inflatable in the last few years. But as we're going to find out, it looks like Christmas for At Home this year is going to be even worse for colossals from what I've seen already from the shorts and other videos. But I'll get off my soapbox and I'll finish this display. Don't know if you guys can see that very well, but this is my other most recent pickup for the Tennessee display. As I said earlier, I've been kind of on a craze of buying neon signs, and if I had one for one window, I already had to get another one for another window, and luckily I was able to find another neon supplier called Saturday Neon that has this very, very sporty looking cursive spelled VOL sign logo. As you all know, as in the SEC, you kind of have got to keep yourself relevant with like your new designs and everything. So at first I wasn't huge on this Vols logo because I'm a bigger fan personally of like the Neyland Stadium Vol sign logo, just for any Tennessee fans out there. But the more I've seen this, and with overall the most recent success of our baseball program, I'm starting to grow on me a little bit. But honestly, I feel like cursive designs have just been done for so long across the SEC. I mean, today we see it on Mississippi State's logo, and South Carolina had a logo back a few years ago during the Muschamp era where it was spelled in cursive, and then trying to think of some other examples out in the SEC at the moment. I mean, obviously the Gators, they've always kind of done theirs in cursive on their football helmets, but I think, you know, for these teams that are now coming out with these cursive logos, it's very stylish and different, but overall, it's just not my favorite thing. But I will say our logo looks pretty good. I will say of all the logos in cursive, I will say ours is my favorite, and it probably ain't even really that close if I had to say. But overall, that logo's kind of grown on me, so I figured, you know, having it in a neon, plus it contrasts enough from the T in the other window, thought it was kind of a good little touch to add on. That way it ain't like two power T's in the same window, and it could be different. So definitely one of my favorite ads this year so far. That's a little look at Austin's VOL-O-WEEN. All jokes aside, though, I mean, I cannot tell you guys how disappointed I am that I didn't get to do a full Halloween display this year. I had some aspirations for it, and I had a whole lot of different ideas and designs I had planned for it, but things just didn't come together. But I can assure you Christmas will hopefully more than make up for it. I definitely am not going to let this tree issue hinder my Christmas display, and I'm hoping that this year I can finally do a proper Thanksgiving/Tennessee display, because this format ain't going away just when the Thanksgiving comes out. So better get used to having some orange and white in your life, because we're believing the hype, and Go Vols. Okay, that's the end of the video. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next upload.